for the 2023 AFLW season. It will kick off in the first weekend of September. Clubs will start pre-season training May 29. And the Red Army will be out in force at High Marsh tonight to see Adelaide United play the Central Coast Mariners. Now checking FIVEAA traffic.
Looking pretty good for the drive home this afternoon, although some passing showers have got some damp roads in a few areas, so do take it nice and easy. And we're quite busy in a few spots, including South Road at Cross Road, also Goodwood Road at Mitchell Street. Slow for works at Paynham Road near Portrush Road. Also Fitzroy slow for works, Prospect Road near Martin Avenue, with cameras Darling Road Paradise and Henderson Avenue at Paraka. Burbank's been building homes for 40 years. To celebrate, they're giving 40 customers $40K to spend on their new homes. Limited offer. Search Burbank and ask about their guaranteed build times. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEAA.
Now the FIVEAA forecast. Showers easing this afternoon, a shower or two tomorrow 17, a possible shower Sunday 19, a shower or two Monday 21. Right now it's 16 degrees. Now let's hear what's happening on 9 News tonight.
GPs to stay open longer and pharmacists given greater powers. The multi-billion-dollar Medicare overhaul. A cruel serial puppy farmer faces justice. We look at Adelaide's biggest new housing development, soon to be home to 40,000 people, and the outrageous television moments that made Jerry Springer a star. I'm Brenton Raglas. The full story on 9 News, tonight at 6.
Did you know that about 1 in 3 people will develop shingles in their lifetime, regardless of how healthy they may feel? Don't wait to find out if you're one of them. To learn more, talk to your healthcare professional and visit noshingles.com.au. Sponsored by GSK Melbourne.
Ever paid $30 for a schnitty? You've probably paid garnish tax. All those little alfalfa sprouts, parsley sprigs, the nonsense you push to the side, you're paying for it. Sure, it looks pretty, but there's nothing like a simple, hearty meal the way you know and love without garnish tax. 7.22 are cooking classics for just $15.90, Monday to Friday lunch. Simple, tasty, $15.90. For a bar and bistro the way it's meant to be, visit 722 Port Road, Beverley.
A troubled young woman, her evil parents. Has justice been done? Delve into one of Australia's most gripping cases, Shadow of Doubt, a new podcast investigation from The Australian. Listen now on The Australian app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Brownie's Podcast!
G'day, it's Jonathan Brown, the host of Brownie's Podcast. Along with my boys Dino and Campbell Brown, we give you the world's loosest podcast.
Was Jesus well hung?
Tell you what, boys, never been prouder.
Your son loves Fast and the Furious, burning things, and he likes burning people.
The only loudmouth dickhead can hear is you.
Ask your smart speaker to play Brownie's Podcast or search for Brownie's Podcast wherever you listen to your podcast.
Angie McBride, talking Adelaide on 1395 5AA.
It is 7 minutes past 3. I'm in for Jade Robran. Hopefully she'll be feeling much better on Monday. You can tune in right now to the 5AA Facebook live stream thanks to Foodland Supermarkets. As you've been hearing across the day, Tasting Australia, it's officially up and running for 10 days. Drinks curator Banjo Harris Plain joins me now. Good morning, it's morning. It's afternoon. Hello, Banjo. How are you?
We're deep into the afternoon, aren't we? Yes, I'm very well. Yeah. How are you?
Now, firstly, I have to ask the question, your name, it's amazing. Is that your birth name?
It sure is, yes. My parents did a very, very good job of that. They got ahead of the trendy name curve. I'm obviously named after Banjo Patterson. So.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. I like it.
Thank you.
Now, Banjo, is this your first time as drinks curator at the festival?
It is, yes. There's been a little bit of a changing of the guard in relation to beer and wine and spirits and all things beverage at Tasting Australia. There's actually 2 curators. It's myself and my wife, actually. So we're a household of beverage lovers. And yeah, it's our first year this year, so we're very excited.
What's your wife's name?
Her name's Mayira Harrell. She's a sommelier and she manages a number of restaurants across Adelaide.
So how did it come about that you're both the drinks curators for the Tasting Australia?
I guess just through the other festival directors. So Karina Armstrong and Darren Robertson, they're the co-directors of the festival. They were looking for local wine lovers, beverage lovers to come in and I guess reinvigorate the beverage offering at Tasting Australia. And so, we got a call 6 or 7 months ago asking us to come on board and share our passion, and here we are. Today's the first day of the festival.
Well, how is day one so far?
It's pretty good. I'm in Tanyanga, Victoria Square, as we speak. The sun's just kind of peeking out behind the clouds. The square is about 2/3 full, I would say. There's music playing, there's food cooking. It's looking wonderful at the moment.
Yeah, and I think the rain is going to hold off. It might just be a little bit chilly, that's all. So perhaps bring a cardigan with you if you're going down tonight to Town Square. Banjo, you're involved, besides curating the drinks, you're involved in a few events as well, aren't you? Tell us about those.
Yeah, so across the sort of spread of the festival, both FIVEAA and I are kind of dipping in and out of a few different events. Some of the ones that I'm involved in include a look at alternative grape varieties within South Australia. So the lesser known grape varieties, these are grapes that originated in different countries in Europe and have only sort of been brought to Australian shores in the last couple of decades. So that's a class called Club Med, alternative varieties, and we're going to look at a range of wines that are grown from Italian and Spanish and Portuguese grape varieties that are grown within South Australia. I think that's a really exciting area of the South Australian wine industry at the moment. I'll also be involved in a deep dive into Cabernet Sauvignon, one of South Australia's more treasured grape varieties. This is going to look at Cabernet from across South Australia, across Australia, and also across the world. And we've got a few other fantastic people involved in that one. We've flown in a winemaker from the Napa Valley in the United States, Angelina Mondavi. We've got local winemaker Charlie Seppelt, who has his own winery, Corallian, but he's also the head winemaker at Seppeltsfield. So some really great people involved, and again, just about sharing their passion for all things food and wine and beverage.
And in between curating and doing your own events, have you got any ones that you're hoping to get to?
I'm not sure. I have been asked that a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm going to have the time, to be honest. But if I did have the time, there's an amazing look at Riesling that's happening this weekend. Actually, I love drinking Riesling. And again, we're looking at South Australian Riesling from across Australia, and then from Germany and France and Austria. So that's taking place this weekend. And then next weekend, there's quite an intimate tasting happening next Sunday called Old Australian Wine. And that's looking at wines going back as far as early 80s. So wines from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, in the previous decade. So wine across 4 decades, all Australian, all sort of, really generational wineries, big names in the wine industry. And that'll be a bit of an exploration of the flavours of old cellared wine and how it's so unique and why South Australia produces so many great wines. So that one will be the next one as well.
I'm talking to Banjo Harris-Plain, co-curator of drinks for Tasting Australia. It's up now for the next 10 days. Lots of different events around the city and around the state. Banjo, you are originally from Adelaide, aren't you?
I am, yes. Yeah. I live in Adelaide now. I spend a little bit of time outside of South Australia, but have been happily settled back here for the last 4 years. So
what's your background? How did you get into the industry?
When I was younger, my parents owned restaurants intermittently, and so I kind of grew up around food and wine. My childhood was either behind the scenes at a restaurant that my parents had, or doing stock take in the cellar on the weekends after I played school sport and things like this. And then after university, I travelled a little bit and spent some time in England and in Europe as well, working at restaurants there. And then when I came back to Australia, it was just, working at some really great restaurants around the country, and got into wine importing and wine judging and a few other sort of adjacent related parts of the wine industry.
And you've got an online wine business, haven't you? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the last 6 or 7 years I've been running an online wine retailer. It's called Good Pear Days. We are a national seller and educator of wine. So So we buy wine from all around the world, all around Australia. We have a really large list of Australian wineries, and we also import wine ourselves, and we sell that across Australia. And I guess what we really focus on is a personalisation element. So we make recommendations in the same way that a sommelier in a restaurant would, but we do that in a digital format, either through our website or we have an app as well. And so we take the time to get to know our members' preferences and what they like to drink, what they don't like to drink. And from that, we can use that data to make recommendations for people. So we're hopefully giving people wines that they really love that they might not otherwise choose for themselves.
Now, I know you said your Riesling is your favourite, but do you drink spirits as well? I mean, as part of your drinks curator, you would have had to be across the spirit industry as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a couple of great classes focused on that. So, as I said before, I'm right here in Town Square, in Victoria Square. We've got a little hidden whiskey bar called Mr. Whiskers. That's open quite late. So if you wander around the square, you should eventually find it. It's tucked away in a little corner, a bit of a speakeasy kind of vibe, and they've got a great collection of South Australian and Australian spirits. And we've also got, as part of the program, a gentleman called Nick Tazar, who's sort of regarded as Australia's best bartender at the moment. He's based in Melbourne, but he's come across for a few days of the festival, and he's doing a little class tomorrow based on Australian liqueurs and vermouth, and he's doing that in collaboration with Brendan Carter, who's the co-founder of Applewood Distillery in the Adelaide Hills.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll be talking all things spirit, liqueurs, and things like that from a South Australian perspective.
Great. So Tasting Australia, it's on until the 7th of May. There's the hub there in Victoria Square, Town Square. You can go to tastingaustralia.com.au for the program and tickets. Banjo, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks so much for having me. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you. Banjo Harris-Plain, co-festival drinks curator for Tasting Australia. And there's lots of fantastic food vendors, and not overpriced either, at Town Square. What have we got here? Taco Cartel, Boston-based small goods, Victoria Park Social Club. Lots of delicious food if you want to spend a bit of time down at Town Square.
The iconic Murray Princess has returned to the river with new release cabins available for May, June and July. Join us as the Riverland opens up after the floods. Relax on board the Murray Princess as you explore this incredible landscape with side trips, cultural experiences and see our natural wonders. New cabins are available right now for cruises in May, June and July. Cruise the majestic Murray River in style, but be quick, these will sell out. Book now at murrayprincess.com.au.
If you're thinking of building or renovating your kitchen, or you are renovating your kitchen, you have a lot of choices to make. But the first choice should be Smeg. We have an amazing Smeg showroom right here in Adelaide. Debney Distributors, it's in Dudley Park, and inside you'll find the full Smeg range on display, with everything from ovens, cooktops, dishwashers, refrigerators to wine cellars, kettles, toasters and more. Smeg seamlessly pairs powerful performance with architectural design. They are even doing cooking demonstrations as well. You really can taste the difference with Smeg. Smeg has also been proudly made in Italy since 1948, and their colour, design and technology is world famous. Smeg, technology with style. Visit the Smeg showroom today at Debney Distributors. It is at Harrison Road, Dudley Park.
Hi, I'm Anne. I work with St. Louis Home Care and I'm an enrolled nurse. I work as a client engagement coordinator.
St. Louis was started by my great-grandmother and now is one big happy family with lovely staff just like Anne.
The people that work for St. Louis are very loving and caring.
Whether it's gardening, meals, shopping, home maintenance or social activities, we help people stay at home for longer.
If you're interested, come and join us.
Google St. Louis Home Care today.
Did you know that about 1 in 3 people will develop shingles in their lifetime, regardless of how healthy they may feel? Don't wait to find out if you're one of them. To learn more, talk to your healthcare professional and visit noshingles.com.au. Sponsored by GSK Melbourne.
Sorry, babe, I'm running late, so you're going to have to... Wait, what? KFC's popcorn and nugget feast? $10? What are you talking... Shut up and take my money.
Not everywhere and not forever. Pick up only.
That's date night sorted.
A troubled young woman, her evil parents, Has justice been done? Delve into one of Australia's most gripping cases, Shadow of Doubt, a new podcast investigation from The Australian. Listen now on The Australian app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Every week, an army of cooks, kitchen hands, foodies and friends arm the Meals on Wheels kitchens.
Okay, team, today it's all about the chicken stir-fry.
Oh, I'm on to the veggies, boss.
Good on you, Reg. I'm on to the pumpkin soup. Love your work, Minnie.
Love to cook?
I'm not Gordon Ramsay, but my cooking's getting better.
If you do say so yourself.
Oh, Minnie, I'm not a rock. I've got feelings.
We could do with you. Go to mealsonwheelsa.org.au. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
Angie McBride, talking Adelaide on 1395 5AA.
It's coming up to 20 past 3 if you are logged on. Hello to everybody on the 5AA Facebook live stream. That is all thanks to Foodland Supermarkets. The Playford Library is undergoing a major restructure which could mean losing key programs, and we'll find out more about it. We have on the line Assistant Secretary, Australian Services Union, South Australia, Northern Territory, Scott Cowan. Hello, Scott. Thank you for your time.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So this restructure, why and when is it happening?
Well, why is a very good question. We've been in ongoing consultation with the City of Playford, with our members at the libraries there, for a number of weeks now. Council's put to our members that they want to make some changes. They say the changes are only relating to reporting lines, but our members are concerned that the movement of staff is much more than that. It's not just about reporting lines. It's going to drastically impact the abilities for employees within the libraries to provide the programs that they provide. And some of the programs are, some of the most used within the council area. We're talking about, children's services and youth programs, adult literacy and the like. These are real vital programs. And when we put to council why it is that they want to make the changes or how it is that the services aren't going to be impacted, they've really refused to acknowledge the concerns that our members have. And I just think it's really disrespectful when it's our members that are at the forefront providing these services that their concerns aren't being listened to right now.
So, we'll go through, we'll have a chat further about the key programs in a little bit, but I mean, really, what does that mean for the community if you're losing staff from, it says here, areas such as the children's areas, STEAM programming, digital literacy, adult programming, including school holiday programs, tree tots, book bugs. So what does that mean?
Well, it's almost every facet of the library, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you think about people that use their local library, particularly people with young children, these are the services that, young families rely upon that are, services there, free at the point of service for the community there to support young families in the area. We really think they're the sort of services that the City of Playford should be encouraging the use of and not making it harder for the staff there to provide the services for. And as I said, our staff are really concerned. It's not about their own job security here. This is about the ability for them to do the work to provide the services to the community. And when we've sought to raise these concerns with management at the City of Playford, the concerns raised by the library staff have just been completely ignored, which is why this week our members have sought to try and raise their concerns with the community. And it seems that local management at the moment, rather than listening to the concerns of our members working in the library, providing these services and seeking to resolve these and make sure that these, I assume, unintended consequences of their proposed changes don't come to fruition. They're instead trying to prevent our members raising their concerns with the people using the libraries when we're trying to explain what the impact could mean on them. And it's really disappointing.
Is this just the sign of the times, Scott, like most industries, that you have less staff doing more work?
Well, it shouldn't be. And we're talking about, a big council, a big capital city council. We're talking about an area that should be able to be well-resourcing the community services that we're talking about. There's no need. There's been no financial need put to us for the cuts. We've been told it's a realignment. And members, of course, are concerned about the impacts of that realignment. And, really what I would just encourage management listening today is to listen to the concerns of the people that actually provide the library services. To the elected members and the mayor, I'd encourage them to listen to the concerns of their staff instead of relying on perhaps the senior management and directors who might be telling them perhaps things that don't work out in reality on the floor on the library services themselves.
Chatting to Scott Cowan from the Australian Services Union. So is this both locations, Scott? So is it Elizabeth and Manopara?
I'll need to confirm that with you, sorry, but I think it's across locations, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And what would be the ideal outcome for you and the staff?
Well, I wrote to management as recently as lunchtime today, encouraging them to reconvene discussions with our members and our union organiser, and really an ideal outcome would be for them to sit down, listen to the staff, heed their concerns, and work out a way to make sure that the issues that we fear, which will be less services to the community and a higher workload for staff, don't come to fruition.
So what can people do if they want to voice their concerns?
Thank you for that. Look, we'd encourage anybody that's concerned about the reduction in services at libraries across the city of Playford to get in touch with the Mayor or to email something to the attention of the CEO and ask them to respect their library workers and their union and sit down and meet with us.
And so what is the next step? What will happen if you don't hear back from the library or the council? Sorry, the council. What's the next step?
Oh, well, our members will be reconvening over the weekend to discuss next steps. We really hope that common sense will prevail and there'll be a meeting and we'll be able to sort out these concerns. But, if our members aren't listened to, then we'll have to look to explore all options in relation to escalating this dispute.
So does that mean possibility of striking?
It's a real possibility that our members are considering, yeah. We don't want to do that. We want to be continuing to provide the services to the community. This is the reason why our members are so concerned about what's happening or what's proposed to be happening at the City of Playford. We don't want to be impacting services to the community. But we're really being given no choice at the moment. The concerns are just being completely ignored. And when our members have tried to, after being ignored by their managers, raise concerns with the community about what could be at stake here, and instead being subject to all sorts of, I've had reports of real concerning threats and intimidation happening on site, which we'll deal with as a union next week. But I really wish management would spend as much time trying to address the issues that our members have tried to respectfully raise for weeks now, rather than going through the tactics that they're doing at the moment. It's really unfair, and it's not fair for the community who suffer in the end.
Yeah, and what's your timeline on that? When are you likely to sort of make a decision, whether it be striking or whatever? What's your cut-off?
Oh, well, look, as I said, we'd be hopeful that there'd be a meeting early next week, but our members will be continuing to discuss their concerns with one another and with the support of the union, and we'll be doing everything we can to try and change the situation through into next week.
All right. Thank you, Scott, Assistant Secretary, Australian Services Union, Scott Cowan. I appreciate your time.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Are you a member of the Playford Library? Do you go up there very often, or what does your library mean to you? I admittedly hadn't been to a library for many years, but I know they're so important. And I know it was it COVID where the borrowing of library books and DVDs and whatever went up significantly. What does your library mean to you? Because you can do photocopying, you can do printing. So the ones for the Playford, it's mainly some of the kids programs, like I said. The suggestion is that Playford could become one of the only libraries in Australia without a staff member dedicated to the children's programs. There will be fewer library programs and events to attend. And then those kind of things are really important, particularly in the school holidays, aren't they? Because I know parents and grandparents are madly trying to find things for their children to do, and things that use their mind as well. Fewer staff to answer your calls and serve you at the counter. Opening hours might have to change because of a reduction in staff. I don't know. What do you think? Is it fair? Is it just a sign of the times? 8223 0000.
Menulog's got a finger-licking good deal for you. Right now, you can score a free Zinger burger with any KFC Burger Box meal delivered. Hurry, this deal's around for a limited time only and exclusively on Menulog. T's and C's apply. See an app for details.
Da-da-da-da! Bargy here from Barbecue Adelaide Weber Stores. Have you got mates coming to gather around your barbie this weekend? Get ready to tee off with a brand new Weber Barbie from my Barbecue Adelaide Weber Store. We got the full range of Weber barbecues so you can entertain your mates. So get ready to treat yourself, because you only live once. Come see me, Bardsey, at Barbecue Adelaide Weber Stores, James Cross and Mile End. and prepare to get lit.
Whether you're a sparky, a chippy, a fiery or a bikey, whether they call you curly, tubby or tiny, whether next door means a few feet or a few miles, we know the weather's harsh in South Australia. But Olympic Industries carports, verandas and sheds are tougher than most. And if they're strong enough in the country, they'll be strong enough in the city. Some say strong as an ox, others say hard as nails. We just say built to last. Olympic Industries.
The 7-seat Kia Sorento, Kia's most awarded large SUV ever. Unlike any other SUV in Australia, the unrivaled Kia Sorento is available in diesel, petrol, hybrid and plug-in hybrid technologies. The Kia Sorento, awarded and unmatched like no other 7-seat SUV. To find out more, visit kia.com.au or visit your nearest Kia dealer.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Good afternoon, Mel Usher with the latest news headlines. Doctors have welcomed a push to give GPs more funding to keep their clinics open for longer. The federal government will contribute an extra $2.2 billion in next month's budget. A Queensland family is mourning 35-year-old Warwick Tollemache, who fell from the top deck of the Quantum of the Seas cruise ship this week and hasn't been located. Matilda's captain Sam Kerr has been named Australia's official flag bearer for King Charles III's coronation. And in sport, Collingwood's Scott Pendlebury has been ruled out of this weekend's game against the Crows. The 5AA forecast: showers easing this afternoon, a shower or two tomorrow, 17. Right now it's 17 degrees. We'll have more news at 4 and as it happens on 5AA.
You loser. Too many school kids are bullied and don't tell anyone. May 12 is Do It for Dolly Day. Your chance to help Dolly's dream break the silence around bullying. Donate to Dolly's Dream at doitfordollyday.org.au.
Is there anything more comforting than slipping under a wonderful wool quilt? Mini Jumbuck has been making Australia's favourite wool bedding products for over 45 years. And with wool's excellent natural temperature regulating properties, you can enjoy them all year round. And with factory direct pricing, you'll be tempted by our pillows, protectors, Ugg boots and comfy wool clothing too. For wonderful woolen comfort this winter and all year round, choose Mini Jumbuck, Australia's favourite wool bedding products for over 45 years. Open 7 days in McLaren Vale.
Are you deciding between wearing glasses or putting in contacts every day? Why not ditch both and trust Laser Vision SA with SA's longest experience in all laser, LASIK and smile procedures. Dr. Frankel has performed more smile procedures than any other surgeon in Australia. See your options clearly with Laser Vision SA. Whether you are near or far-sighted or have astigmatism, contact Laser Vision SA today and live your best life without the hassle of glasses or contacts.
Angie McBride, talking Adelaide on 1395 5AA.
It's 28 minutes to 4. Rowey and Timmy G, they're down at the Glenelg Golf Club today for the Youth Opportunities Day. So we'll chat to them shortly. The History Festival, when's it? May. May is on Monday. May Day on Monday. It runs for the month of May with a lot of interesting events, including this one. It is called Postcards from the Edge. We have SA history advocate Dr. Kira Lindsay joins me now to tell me all about it. Hello, Kira, how are you?
Hi, Angie. How are you? Thanks for giving us the time.
No problems. Well, can you answer this first question? As your job role, what is a history advocate?
Well, it's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? I have to say that some of my friends call me the history avocado, which is pretty cool too, I reckon. I do like a good avocado. And they're smooth, which I guess a history advocate needs to be. Look, it's all about advocating for the role of history in the way that we think and understand the world we live in. So the place of history in our education, especially South Australian history. You know, we want to make sure that kids enjoy learning South Australian history. We want to advocate for the place of South Australian history in national history. So it's not all about, 1788, what happened in Sydney, et cetera, but it's the place that our stories have in the national story. And it's also the significance of South Australian stories in the world. So I do everything from working with heritage, with art, from tourism to education, to really saying, hey, our stories matter.
Well, how did you get into this? Like, was there a topic which piqued your interest to get into the field?
Oh, I love that question. Look, I was a little bit of a rebel as a kid, Angie, and but one thing that used to always be spellbinding for me was my mum would take me, away on holidays with the rest of the family, of course, and we'd talk about things like shipwrecks. Okay, so I love a bit of marine history, and we'd walk along the country, and she'd tell me different stories about places and times, and I'd love to get my feet in the shoes of people from the past and try and imagine what it was like to live those lives. And then I remember this one time, I was sitting at the dinner table and my mum and dad were having an argument about Ned Kelly. And my dad was saying he was a cop killer, nothing but a cop killer. And my mum was saying he's a great Republican, he had visions about dealing with Irish injustice in Australia. And I thought, wow, that is just so interesting. And that's when the history bug was really first bit me, because that's the whole thing that we do in history. Is we don't say one person's wrong or one person's right necessarily. We're like, how do you hold all those perspectives in complexity and make sense of them?
Yes. And Kira, you are doing an event called Postcards from the Edge. Tell us what that is all about.
Yeah, you betcha. So this is, the History Trust, which is where I work. I'm very lucky to work with all these wonderful people at the History Trust. And we're running quite a few events, and I'll be playing an active role in 3 of them. And the very first cab off the rank is one with Mr. South Australia, Keith Conlon, the great and wonderful Keith. And we're going to be chatting about why history matters right now in South Australia. What's at stake? What's the difference between history and heritage when it comes to thinking about public history, statues, place names, hospitals versus health hospitals and health versus history and heritage, how we can make a case for them all being equally important, all part of our health and well-being as a society. And we want to make this event a real sort of public forum. So it's going to be both a fireside chat where we talk about the things that we care about, that make us, that stimulate our passion and excitement, but we also want to hear from the audience. So we're going to be asking them questions and getting them to talk back, because I guess one of the things I'm really interested in is empowering everybody in South Australia to become history advocates as well. And so we're really keen to find out more about what matters to other South Australians and how are they advocating for their history, and how can we all advocate a little bit better, because I think we can see that there's room for improvement on how South Australian history features in schools and in different heritage. I think we can always do more. So the question we want to explore, how we can do better and where we can do better, and we want to hear from people. So if you've got a bee in your bonnet, or you've just been bitten by the history bug, this would be a great event for you to come along and have your voice heard.
Does Keith Conlon know that you've only got 2 hours? Because he can have a chat.
You reckon once he's got your ear, it's a bit hard?
It might be a 3-hour, 4-hour session at that rate.
Oh, but aren't we lucky to have Keith? Because, he's such a fantastic storyteller, and he's just a wonderfully warm and generous person, and we need more of those people, advocating for history, and especially what's distinctive about South Australian history. So I think it's going to be a cracking event, and it will be more so as more and more people come. So, if you're thinking, what am I going to do on Tuesday the 2nd of May at 6 o'clock? Yes. Well, what you should do is come and get a glass of wine and enter the fray, get into the conversation.
I'm chatting to Dr. Kira Lindsay, State History Advocate, got part of the History Festival next Tuesday, a talk called Postcards from the Edge at the Mercury Cinema, Morfett Street. Kira, so it says on the stuff I've got, you're an advocate for giving the past a future. Can you please expand on what that means?
Yeah, well, history is different from the past. The past is everything that was, but what historians do is they organise the stories of the past around what remains, the archives, the objects, etc., etc. And the History Trust keeps all sorts of objects that have been given to it because the people of Australia deem these to be precious and important. And we keep those in collection, in the preservation, in the trust for the South Australian people of the future. But, there's a real role in making sure that history matters to future generations. To be honest, Angie, history is not taught in universities as much as it used to. It's a little bit of a threatened species in some places. And so we do need to play a really active role in making sure that it has a role in our future, because that's how we make sense of the world, And I guess part of that is also recognising that history is a constantly growing and reinventing and responsive sort of way of understanding the world. There's not just one way of doing history. There's never just one definitive form of history. And so part of my work as a history advocate, part of giving history a future, is to recognise and encourage and stimulate new and creative, often radical ways and rebellious ways of doing history so that history can have a future. History needs to change to meet us in our moment. It needs to be open to invention and transformation. That's a big part of what I do too.
And Kira, you have written books, quite a few books in the past, and you've got one coming. Is something coming out soon? Is that right?
Ah, Angie, you've been doing your homework.
I have.
Yeah, I've got this. Look, I've got a passion for biography, and particularly about Australian women who haven't been given much attention but have wonderful stories to tell. And so I've been working for the last 8 years on this extraordinary woman whose name is Adelaide Ironside. So she was actually born in Sydney, but her name is Adelaide, come on. Yeah. And she was Australia's first professional female painter, and she went and trained abroad with all these famous Victorian people like John Ruskin and the Brownings in the 19th century. She lived in Rome for a decade, and her vision was to come back to Australia and paint the public buildings of Australia with Republican frescoes, because she thought that Australia would become a republic. So she was also a mystic and a medium, so she scried crystal balls for people like the famous poets, the Brownings and John Ruskin. So this woman was just absolutely extraordinary. Her work was celebrated at the time, but she's almost forgotten. And so I'm really hoping that that book, when it comes out in November, will change that, ensure that we remember this wild woman. And so my book is called Wild Love, which is the words that she uses in one of her poems. And she was a woman who had a wild love for a lot of things, which is what I think we all can do with having a bit of wild love. Don't you reckon?
Yes, if only.
Having a bit of a wild love for the things that we love is a bit of a good thing.
So, Kira, is that all? It's already, it's gone to the publishers. That's it? No more edits for Adelaide Ironside?
I've just finished the edits this week. And so the next stage is to have the proof pages. So that's when they send the book back to you and it looks like a book, and you just got to make sure your full stops and your commas and things like that are in the right place. But before then and now, I'll also be doing a couple of other events for the History Festival as well. If you think you and your listeners might be keen to hear about those as well.
Please.
So on the Tuesday is the event with Keith. And then on the Thursday, the same week, I'll be doing another event which is called History and Imagination, Adversaries or Allies. And that's kind of going to those murky but fascinating territories about the role of imagination in history. Some people like their history served really cold and dry. You know, they want the facts, and nothing but the facts. But other people recognise that history is... it involves storytelling, and storytelling involves imagination. So we're going to be exploring how the imagination has animated, but also often made history quite a complicated beast. whether it's in fiction or films or podcasts or radio, or even dance and theatre. You know, we use our imagination to evoke the past, but there's questions about the ethics of that too, which is really interesting. I think a lot of people who are into historical fiction often think about these sort of questions. So I think that'll appeal to anyone who likes to write or to read.
And when's
and
that
that's
one?
on the Thursday. That's on the Thursday.
Yeah, where is it?
Yep. That's also at the Mercury.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, and if people are interested, they can get onto the History Trust website and they can make their bookings that way. And then we've got one more event that I'm running, which is called Creative Histories, and that's going to be held at the Maritime Museum on the 11th of May. And that's sort of more of a roll your sleeves up and thinking about how you can make your history real, when you're making history, how you can make it really colourful, creative, appealing, engaging, and open it up. And so we're going to be talking to some incredible people who do really interesting, different artistic practices and expressions of history. So, you know, when art makes history, what happens? It gets a little bit dangerous, I think. So we've got some fantastic speakers who are going to come along, talk about their work, how they approach it, and what are some of the challenges with doing that sort of work too.
Oh, that sounds all really good. So the one with Keith, the postcards from the Edge, that is on Tuesday night at the
Mercury.
Then you've got one on Thursday at the Mercury. Then the one on the 11th at the Maritime Museum. And what great history down there. And I've got a friend that lives down Port Adelaide Way, and I love going there. It's just so, I just love it. It's just got all that history and those buildings, and it's really beautiful down there.
Yeah, it is. I couldn't agree with you more. It just makes my heart burst every time I go down there. Talk about wild love, Angie.
Yes, and we will watch out for wild love. And 8 years of all that hard work. How exciting when you finally get the printed copy.
Yeah, and I just can't wait to share it with the world now. You know, so much work, and it'll be exciting to watch my baby get up and walk around and talk to other people without me there.
So you can pick up a program from Foodland or festival.history.sa.gov.au, and if you just put Kira Lindsay's name in the search bar, all of her events will come up. Thank you, Kira. It's been lovely to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks, Angie, and I look forward to meeting you and the rest of South Australia when you come along to our events at the History Festival. It's going to be just an amazing festival this year. So let's go and have a great time together. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kira Lindsay, State History Advocate. And Kira was talking about the History Festival, and I've had a look through. There's so many. I think, and some great free events as well. And even the paid ones are quite a reasonable price. It's just a nice night out. Thank you very much, Kira. We'll take your calls after the break, 8223 0000.
Catch Rowey and Timmy G this afternoon, live from the Glenelg Golf Club as they support the Youth Opportunities Golf Day. Youth Opportunities is a not-for-profit that delivers programs to at-risk young people in schools to help them build the skills, habits, self-esteem and confidence to lead themselves towards a successful life. For 25 years, Youth Opportunities has helped over 16,000 young people change their lives. Donate at youthopportunities.com.au. Catch Rowey and Timmy G this afternoon from 4 p.m, live from the Glenelg Golf Club.
So many lives are impacted by breast cancer, and it's never an easy thing to face. But Calvary SA's recently expanded breast and endocrine service is here if you need it. It can be helpful to understand your risk factors with a family history review or have suspicious lumps checked. Calvary's expert team offers quality patient care tailored to individual needs to help you through your entire journey. They will guide you through every step, and together with service providers on site, you can rest assured that you are in great hands. And if you have breast concerns, ask your GP for a referral and get access to immediate appointments with experienced medical specialists. Search Calvary SA Breast and Endocrine Service for more information. It's available at Calvary North Adelaide Hospital and Calvary Central Districts Hospital in Elizabeth Vale.
Come on in.
We open our doors to people we trust and care about. And for over 85 years, South Australians have been opening their doors to Rest Haven. In turn, we've been opening doors to an easier, better life at home. From personal care to help with the shopping and social outings, you'll welcome the care that Rest Haven brings.
In MasterChef's most surprising season, they'll never know who's around the corner.
Kurt Stone!
Rick Stein!
Baby!
MasterChef's Secrets and Surprises starts 7:30 Monday on 10 and 10 Play.
Imagine drifting into your best night's sleep. Now you can at Harvey Norman with exclusive deals on Tempur. We have a huge range of exclusive mattresses, adjustable bases and pillows, so now's the time to experience a feeling like no other. The Tempur 0G Aspire Elite 2.0 Queen Adjustable Base allows you to fine-tune your sleeping position with head and foot elevation. Now amazing value, only $999. Hot price on the Tempur Smart Cool 1 Queen mattress featuring innovative cooling technology. Only $1999. Feel Tempur for yourself now at Harvey Norman.
Barnacle Bill, serving South Australia with quality cooked seafood for over 50 years. Each order is freshly prepared using the finest quality seafood. Sumptuous prawns, calamari, mouth-watering butterfish and chips with Barnacle Bill's own tartare sauce. From a snack pack for one, crew pack for four, or for the whole family. Come in and see why Barnacle Bill has been serving South Australia quality seafood for over 50 years.
Fresh from the sea, it's gotta be Barnacle Bill.
The iconic Murray Princess has returned to the river, with new release cabins available for May, June and July. Join us as the Riverland opens up after the floods. Relax on board the Murray Princess as you explore this incredible landscape with side trips, cultural experiences and see our natural wonders. New cabins are available right now for cruises in May, June and July. Cruise the majestic Murray River in style, but be quick, these will sell out. Book now at murrayprincess.com.au.
Angie McBride, talking Adelaide on 1395 5AA.
It is 9 minutes to 4. Get to your calls in just a moment. Timmy G and Rowey are out and about at Glenelg. Hello, Timmy G. How are you?
Oh, g'day, Angie. Look, it's exciting. We're sitting up on the balcony at the Glenelg Golf Course, and there's all these wonderful people playing the golf day for youth opportunities. And unfortunately, they didn't realise that I'm going to turn it into a live golf event. And I've been playing loud music and abusing them and throwing empty beer bottles at them. So, and they can't believe what's going on.
We can't take you anywhere, can we?
Well, you can't take me seriously either.
So the Youth Opportunities Day, I know you will talk about it more after 4 o'clock, but how important is a day like this?
Oh, it's awesome because they raise a lot of money, which helps, year sort of 10, around that 14, 15 years of age mark where, sometimes you're not sure who you are, what you want to be and the like, and you just might have circumstances that aren't sort of, in your control. And what this actually does is give you opportunities to achieve dreams that you might want. So I think it's fantastic for young people to give them opportunities, and that's as simple as what it is. Its name is what it speaks. So it's a fantastic cause, and we get the pleasure too of not only helping them along, but getting to speak to legends like Peter Carey and Nick Chigwitten as well, who are involved.
So who are you talking to today? What have you got on today?
Yeah, well, we always have Treaders on a Friday, so Treaders will bring us all of his news. Brodie Smith comes in as well. Both of those guys will be live, and then we're going to go right to the heart of it in Melbourne, Marvel Stadium, and talk to Ken Hinkley just before, obviously, he addresses the players before they play St Kilda tonight. And, they're sitting top. Port Adelaide are in the 8 and want to go further, so that'll be an absolute cracker as well. So, plenty to happen on the sports show tonight, my friend.
Sounds good. Look forward to it. Thank you, Timmy.
Hooroo.
Thank you, Timmy G. We've let him out. We've let him off site. Not sure if that's a good or a bad thing. David from Smithfield, thank you for waiting.
Oh, that's all right, Angie. How are you?
I'm well. How's things?
Good, thanks. Look, I am in the Place Council area, and I didn't catch all of that segment. I caught probably the back half, but I suspect the council's terminology for innovation is more of a cost-cutting measure because the last time I checked, they were over $180 million in debt.
Ooh. Wow, that's a lot. Is that the council or the library?
Yes.
The council.
The council,
wow. Yeah. So what are your feelings on that, wanting to cut programs? Do you think it's something that has to happen, or is it just going to be a real shame?
I think the council has a responsibility, just like any other type of government, to the people, to service everybody, not just a select few. And we do have a lot of older people in the community that tend to use the library more often than the younger people when it comes to internet and things like that. So by going down this course, I think it's a worrying trend. And school holidays, you were right when it comes to kids. But I'm just not happy about it either.
No, we'll have to see what happens. Thank you for your call, David. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Thank
See ya.
you. Take care. And Steve sent a message through Semaphore Library. It's a great place to go. Love going there. It's a nice, quiet place where you can just sit back and hang out. Yes, for sure. Hello, Faye. How are you?
Hello again, Angie. I'm fine, love. I know time's getting
That's all right.
against
Got a
us
couple of
now,
minutes.
but beyond that, I just wanted to talk about gambling.
Yes.
I used to do it, but in a different way, though, because when I was younger and still working at the time, I used to do it, but with cans of cool drink. And every time Port Adelaide won from my work colleagues, I always used to give a can of Coke, and the same would do for me with North Adelaide. And I used to find that a lot of fun, but when it got too much, well, then I just had to give it up in the end because I couldn't afford to keep it on. But without notice, I just want to say, Jade, get well, because you know what? Anzac Day, you and I, our team won. North Adelaide. And it made me the happiest on earth, the best present I could ever have received, even though it was Anzac Day and one of my sisters whose birthday it was at the time. But beyond that, no, I've enjoyed your program all day, and that WOG, whatever it is that still must be going around, it can't be all that... what's the word I'm looking at?
It'll make you feel good. It doesn't make you feel good at all. And I'm touching, it's not wood in here. I think it's melamine or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm just so, not nervous, but Faye, I've just dodged it again, and I just,
You too.
I don't know how.
As long as it's not COVID, that's all we want to know. We don't want anybody else going down with COVID when we've got too many cases of COVID.
Yeah, but there's a lot of colds going around as well, and flus, and All right, Faye, I better fly. Good to talk to you.
Same here.
Thank you. Thank you, Faye. We'll chat to you another time. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Josh. Have a lovely rest of the day. Timmy G and Rowey are live at the Glenelg Golf Course.
Join 5AA each night from midnight for Australia Overnight.
Hi, it's Tony Moclair here, host of Australia Overnight. Thrilled and